it's kind of when the White House and Department of Homeland Security said enough is enough. We can't stop evil from happening, but we can do things to protect our children. And so they created this program to stop the bleed and give you kind of basic skills for the average person to be able to save a life before first responders get there. Because in reality, who's going to be there before we are? You guys, the students, the teachers, the faculty, all that stuff, and then we're going to get there and take over, but you're going to be there initially. You can bleed out in 4 to 5 minutes. It takes us 3 to 4 minutes to get there, so you can see how close it is that we give you guys these skills. And so the goal is to train every single American in the United States. We're happy to partner with the school district. Like he said, Ryan called me, he wanted to know about this, let's get it going, let's get it started, and it's kind of taken off like wildfire. We have taught every single faculty member, support staff, and administration at the high school and WAMS. And we've started with the first elementary school a couple weeks ago. And then the nurses, and then we're going to do transportation and stuff like that. So our goal is to train everybody in Sanger Unified on the importance of stopping the bleed. With that being said, we're going to watch a little video to kind of set the mood of why we're all here. Guys, Sanger. Okay? That's why we're here. We're here for the children, and we're here for each other. So today we're going to give you some skills on how to stop the bleed. I know we have a lot of nurses here. It may be kind of boring, but bear with me. And we have the mayor, though. The mayor is here to learn, so thank you to the mayor for being here. It's kind of cool. Appreciate that. We're going to do a PowerPoint, and then we're going to have 2 skill stations where you're going to do a tourniquet and pack a wound. Okay? And so we'll give you some skills, and we'll talk about things, and we can have a question and answer session as well. So stop the bleed. What is it? It's basic bleeding control, right? Go ahead. Most common is the one on the left, combat application tourniquet. That's the one we have today. That's the one that are in your kits. But those are different kinds. That's the kind of nomenclature of the tourniquet. We'll go over the rod, clip, strap, and band in your skill station. You guys will be. So how do we apply a tourniquet? So we're going to insert the wounded extremity through the combat application tourniquet, right? So let's say I'm hurt, I need to apply a tourniquet to myself. It's designed for one person, one hand operation, all right? So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to tighten it up, okay? I'm going to pull this rod, keep going with this slide. I'm going to pull this band until it fastens back on itself, right? And get all the slack out. I'm going to take the rod, and I'm going to twist it. And I'm going to keep twisting and twisting and twisting until the bleeding stops. Once the bleeding stops, I pop it into the clip. Okay? So it's in the clip. And it can go up or down. Let the gravity of the rod do the work. It'll go up or down depending on the rod. And you'll see in your skills how it works. Okay? Then I'm going to take the rest of this and I'm going to wrap it over to lock that rod in place so the rod doesn't pop out. Okay? This little doohickey right here, this is your timestamp. So you just take it, wrap it down, and then you're going to write the time you applied the tourniquet. And that's more for the hospital, so they know how long the tourniquet has been on. Okay? And now the patient's ready, and you stop the bleeding. Okay? Easy. And you guys are all going to learn it. So apply continuous pressure. Okay? The hemostatic gauze or dressing is the one that says quick-clot. Okay? That'll be your kit. Or anything that you can use. Go ahead. Those are examples of hemostatic dressing. Quick-clot is the most common. There are some other ones, Israeli bandaging and combat gauze is more military, but quick-clot is pretty much what everyone uses and what we use and what you guys are going to have. So wound packing. So how are we going to pack a wound? Open the clothing around the wound. Remember I said we want to expose the injury down to the skin, so we're going to open clothing. If possible, remove the blood that's pooled around the area, but don't loosen up any clots. Okay, let the clots do their work. And then you want to find the source of the most active bleeding. So we pack the wound with hemostatic dressing or gauze and a clean cloth, and you're going to stuff it right into that wound. And it sounds gross, but you're just going to take it and you're just going to stuff it down in there, and you're going to try and stop the bleed. And we're going to go over that in your skills station over there as well. So that's an example. I see all too often people do B. That doesn't do anything. You need to get the cloth down in there and stop the bleeding, okay? If you put it on top, everything's just going to keep pulling and keep bleeding and coming out. You're going to just be doing this all day going, why isn't this stopping? take the gauze and stick it down in there as far as it can until it starts coming out of the wound, and then cover it and hold pressure, okay? So quickly apply and hold pressure directly on the packing wound until relieved by medical responders. If initial packing and direct pressure fail to stop the bleeding, you can use a second piece of gauze, like I said, and just reapply the same amount of force or more force if you have to, okay? One thing about the wound packing is if the person is conscious enough, and you may have multiple victims, see if they can hold their own pressure. If they can hold their own pressure, then you can feel comfortable leaving them, go check on someone else, see if anybody else needs help, and then come back to that person and reassess and see how they're doing. But if they're conscious enough to hold their own pressure, you can let them. Okay? Any questions about wound packing or direct pressure? No? Okay. We'll do that. Roll it out like toilet paper. Okay? Stick it in my hand, roll it out like toilet paper, and I use these two fingers to pack. Okay? So I pull up, I go, hey, are you okay? They're like, yeah. I'm like, where are you shot? He goes, I think it's my leg. I rip off the pants, or I cut the pants. I expose down to the skin, I wipe blood away from it if I have to, and I find the wound. So I found an open wound, right? So I found an open wound. It's very large and deep, and it needs to be packed. Okay? So I'm going to take my gauze, and I'm just going to start stuffing. And see how it just plays out nice and neat. And I'm taking these two fingers and I'm stuffing them down in there. I'm going as far as I can. I'm trying to stuff all that, get all the nooks and crannies, find all the void spaces, and I'm packing this wound. And I'm using just my two fingers. That's all it takes. But I'm really getting it down in there. I can probably get this whole roll and then some down in here. Okay? So let's say that's your wound, right? Now what do? I pressure, right? So I can do one of two things. I can take that gauze and put it on top, or I can just use my gloved hand and I do this. And how long do I hold it for? Good. Good job. All right? Good. Okay. ABCs, right? Alert. 911. Good. Okay. So B is exposed bleeding or exposed bleeding, and then C is compress. And you need to pack and compress, right? Okay. Go. Your wound is bleeding. It's still bleeding. He's bleeding pretty good. He's got a pretty good wound. Okay, see how you're just kind of putting them on top? Push. See, look how much more room I made.
Now, if you could bring that more this way.
That's your dominant axe, Anita?
Am I right?
Yeah. Oh, what is your right? Sorry.
Yeah, so you can see how hard it is doing it with your left.
But you're making it look easy, that's why I was like...
Well, as I'm twisting it, it's turning. Well, I guess that part doesn't matter how tight this is.
Then once you put that on,
Then I tighten it up.
And just remember, not only the
it's really different than the tourniquets that we have.
sorry.
No, not
This one
yet.
is a little bit too close to the elbow. You want to do it higher, a little bit higher.
Awesome. It's bleeding. It's so calm until you actually open this up and everyone goes into panic mode.
Yeah, it is panic.
Good. Fast, too. She must be the boss.
I've done this for real before, so I kind of have a memory of it. In a heart, open chest.
And yeah, I was like, I would just like, without watching it, I would have just taken the whole thing and like shoved it.
Go. Really yeah, there you go. Really stuff it down in there. There you go. Really, don't be afraid. You're saving a life. And how long do you look for?
Until you professionals get there.
Good job. Great job.